Finally, after so many years, SBR is finally coming. And it's about time I make the gigantic, comically wide spinning fridge. But first, we'll need the models.
どじゃーん。どうしてもやるのか。そうせざるを得ない。は遥か向こうのどこかの誰かへ。そんだ。
What the hell am I doing here? And so to get the basics of Blender done, I made a tree. A really bad looking tree, but it's the first model I've made myself, so I love it. But of course, we're still very far off to making this. After a few minutes, I've already started on a torso thing.
But what the hell, boy?
Just to realize that I should have used another shape, perhaps a cylinder, which turned out still as bad as earlier. So I restarted it again, but with a plane, and it's a small improvement. After so many, much more attempts, I accidentally made a goblin-looking head. But over the course of 6 hours, well, I've improved. Maybe, I think. After that, I attempted to make the head.
Man, what did I just make?
And so now that it looks absolutely horrendous, I tried to texture it, but then my Blender crashed. Because, well, my topology is a nightmare. Now, while painting all that, I've realized I've made a terrible mistake. I should not have joined all the parts together, and that made it so that everything has a single base color, and I have to paint each part individually with the limited painting tools Blender has. And so I reloaded an older backup file I had, and then started to separate each piece. I then colored for about 2 hours, and it turned out like King Von reincarnated. So after some rigging, damn, that's huge. And if you've noticed, I'm getting confused between the camera movements of Roblox and Blender. Since at this point, I've been on Blender for about 2 days straight. And the relief that it actually worked in Studio made me bust. All that learning just for this little critter to come to life. I feel like a father now. And so after all that work, I can finally start scripting.
今、女神が生まれたのだ。うぬぼれたバカ者同士の吹き飛んだ!
So naturally, after getting headaches from modeling, time to get headaches from scripting. I got it to follow me using a simple render loop, but it looks whack. So instead I went back to my trusty welds, which works well. But anyway, I made an animation with a whole lot of keyframes, although something still feels wrong. Why are we standing? And so I made you crippled. Although there's a split second where you stand that I don't know how to fix. Luckily, I've made the Gilgamesh a while ago, so I already have a range M1 script. And so after quickly handling that, you can now shoot your nails around. I also gave him a short dash because why not? Now this thing doesn't really do anything else, because it's really just supposed to be weak. For the Act 2 model, I started progressing faster compared to earlier. I also learned a few shortcuts and features that made my life way easier. The arms still look pretty weird though. Oh wait, my cat's here. My cat! What do you want? Speak, cat. Anyway, I got the base shape of the model done in a few hours. After some coloring, I've discovered something called shrink wrapping, and man, I wish I knew that earlier. I also had to learn weight painting to prevent this from happening, which made me almost want to end myself. And the star thing was acting up, so I just decided to remove it. After that, I inserted it into Studio and made the idle animations. The kit is similar to Act 1, but with more skills. One of Act 2's main skills are making holes, and those holes move towards your enemies. And so I just did that. After shooting a nail with your M1, a hole appears. And comes your first skill. When activated, the holes will track towards all nearby enemies and deal damage. I also added a summon effect for the stand so it doesn't just appear there. Another passive ability is the golden ratio. It appears after every 4th M1. Excuse me? The golden ratio appears every 4th M1 and makes you deal 30% extra damage. Now, Tusk Act 3, well, let's be honest, you're here to see Act 4, so let's speed this up a bit. Same process as earlier, but I had no problems this time around. And if you've noticed, there is a drop in quality compared to the first 2 acts. That is because I got lazy and Act 3's design is my least favorite among the 4. I'm kidding, it looks so goofy so I subdivided it. Now it looks malnourished. As for the moveset, there is a small change with the passive. Instead of activating it with a skill, the hole now tracks by itself a second after spawning. To add more immersion, I decided to make M1 animations for the stand too. But then, this is what happens. And this is what it's supposed to look like. But it turns out I was just playing the wrong animation. I may be so dumb. After making more of the animations, the torso just doesn't want to move. Probably a rigging issue, so I just made it snap into place. And yes, it looks goofy. Now, the first skill makes use of the wormhole things, where it appears to where your cursor is placed, and after summoning the wormhole, you fire a nail upwards. But honestly, it looks underwhelming. And so I tripled it. Now it's definitely more fun and balanced. And you can also commit deforestation with it. Another skill that will be changed is the dash, where instead of a regular nail dash, you instead use your wormhole to move around. Now, apparently, T makes Johnny regenerate his nails faster. It wasn't explained how and why, but oh well, it's JoJo. It's supposed to be bizarre. The particles are just from the VFX pack, so I just grabbed it. This skill doesn't cost stamina. Instead, it takes away from your ult charge and regenerates both health and stamina. Very peaceful. And so, I've come across a problem. I may have overestimated my 1-week-old Blender skills, because how am I supposed to make all those details? I had the first attempt, which turns out it wasn't even connected properly, so I had to restart. After another attempt, it still looks practically similar, but the vertices are better. As for the arms, I kept the blocky Roblox look and beveled it a lot. I also learned a new thing, mask painting, which made my life way easier, since if you couldn't tell by the lines, I'm only using a mouse to paint. But then I remembered I have a tablet and a stylus. What am I doing with my life? Honestly, I forgot he has a horseshoe in his head. I don't know how I forgot that part. I also had less effort for the things dangling on the stand, because in no way am I going to individually color all of those. Well, of course, wait painting time. Because after a session of migraines, I imported it into Studio and obviously, there are rigging problems. And I've already weight painted this rig about 5 times now. And guess what? It's still broken, it's still deformed. Why does it do that? I have no idea. Because it's totally fine in Blender, but in Studio, it does this stupid thing. So after I don't know, maybe 3 hours of constant suffering, I finally finished the idle animation. Before we continue to the moveset, I figured the combat system is really bland and straight up mid. So I added more features, aka fainting. You basically stop your skill before casting it. This can be activated by using jump, although it's only available for some skills, not all of them, since that's too unfair. Back to Act 4. The M1 string will be different this time, where instead of you shooting your nails, it's your stand that actually attacks. I also had to animate the folding things in this rig, which was honestly kinda fun, since I barely work with custom rigs anyway. I literally learned Blender a week ago. And in the meantime, I also might have asked ChatGPT how to smoothly twin a stand, because the snappy effect kinda sucks. Turns out you can twin welds. I did not know that. It's now time for a special passive at the end. The final hit of the M1 string is a grab move, where Tusk grabs them by the head and then throws them away. Now the next thing we need are better effects, since this thing is way too bland for a really cool stand. After polishing up the M1s, something still feels off. Oh, I forgot to change the player's animations. So now it finally looks like a proper stand. This honestly looks better than 90% of the animations I've previously made. Now compared to the previous acts, I also gave this one a jump attack. For that, I'll need to widen your hole. After setting it up, we now have a simple jump skill. Now as for the hit effects, I just modified the one from the M1s, and now you can crush your enemies with a simple jump. The first move is just the peak version of Act 3's first skill, where instead of sending your nails, you send Act 4 to do a ground smash, while also still shooting nails. The range is the same as earlier, which is 50 studs. The second skill is a similar projectile as the other Act's M1s, but this time it tracks using the mouse. Also, I've noticed that your stand actually blocks you on shift lock, so I shifted it to the other side. Now back to the skill. Before I continue, I had to fix a hitbox issue since it isn't aligned well and doesn't even hit up close, which made me do basic math, which took me about 30 minutes to figure out how. I am really bad at scripting, and I'm even worse at math. Now it can't just be a simple nail shot. It explodes after impact, and when it hits an enemy, it triggers the golden ratio status, which as you've seen earlier boosts your damage. For the third skill, we'll use the hole again, where you travel under the hole and pop up with the slashing attacks. It's a straightforward move. Also gives you iframes while inside the hole. Might be great for chasing a runner or something. I don't know, I don't play fighting games. So it's finally time.
どうじゃーうぬぼれたバカ者同士の手と手を取り合った平等な
And so I worked on the iconic pose and I then worked on the effects and added the rectangle. I've also come to realize why some of the skills look bland. It's because it doesn't have the slightest bit of camera shake. Okay, maybe that's too much. Anyway, after doing that for a bit, I went back to the funny BD. Next, I had to make the golden nail bullet, which was the regular bullet but golden. Next, I had to script it so that it smoothly positions the characters, and then I made the animation for the next 3 hours. Fortunately, JoJo beatdowns are mostly composed of barrages, so I just had to copy and paste the same keyframes again and again. It's not being lazy, it's called being efficient. But here comes the massive problem. The animation does not play similarly to the one in Moon Animator. As you can see, the arms are not aligned properly, which is most likely a rigging problem. So it's either I have to recheck the rig on Blender or cry myself to sleep because I don't even know how exactly rigs work. So I reanimated the whole arms and well, I don't even know what's happening. But I eventually got it fixed. And the reason it does that is because I forgot to animate 2 important bones, the shoulders. That took me way too long to fix. I could have finished the whole beatdown by now. After a few more moments, I finally finished the raw animations. But after all that, I still was not satisfied. I wanted more flashiness, camera effects. I also messed around with color corrections a bit, and I didn't know that it can make some really funky lightning effects. It's like that one time I ate some suspicious looking mushrooms. After that, of course, impact frames, which once again I drew myself.
Whoa.